I got a message from the good people at Llewellyn that they had some beautiful decks for me to check out. So far, I've checked out one. I have one more left, and this is the second one, I believe. And I'm very interested because I didn't know anything about this deck, and I love unicorns. I am a unicorn Pegasus person. So I'm very interested to see how this looks. So let me take a look at it. Oh, I didn't take off the plastic. I got this deck a long time ago, and I did not take off the plastic because I did not want to see it without you guys. You guys know I love the look of the deck fresh. So fresh and raw. I want to give you my honest opinion from seeing it the first time. Because after I've seen it a few times, my opinion might change. I may, you know, who knows? I'm Aquarius, who knows? What might happen with my poor opinion. But here we go. So this is the front of the box. Let me show that to you. This is the side. This is the back, if you want to screenshot that and read it. Bring it closer for some of you who might want it to be bigger. Because I know as I get older and I don't wear my glasses, let's not even talk about that. That's my fault. Okay, and here we go to price. Okay. All right, so we're going to check it out. My name is QueenAusetHeru. I don't know if I mentioned, did I say that this was a gift? I think I did say this was a gift from the company. And the purpose is for us to do an honest review. So that's what we're going to do. My name is QueenAusetHeru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to anyone and everyone who might like this deck. Please drop us some positive comments in the comment section. Tell me, do you have a love affair with unicorns the same way that I do? And if you want to get a reading done, hit me up. I have so many decks over here, and I would love to read you. I would love it. Likewise, underneath this video, you're going to find all my information. Feel free to hit me up for a reading or if you have a question. And also at the very top underneath this video, I will put a link to this deck here. So if you want to purchase a legitimate copy, it'll be right underneath this video. There's so many fakes and counterfeits going around. I always try to make sure I post a link to where I got it from. Okay? All right, let's go. First of all, this part here, love that. It says tarot. I just realized this is tarot, not an oracle deck. Okay, so this is magnetic. I love that. This is the inside. With open hearts and tender hooves, we welcome you to the unicorn realm. Okay. All right, so you pull up this and beautiful. So the first thing I'm noticing here is a full color guidebook. There's a meaning for each card. Tell you how to do a reading. Okay. Table of contents. And there's some spreads. That's what I was looking for, the spreads. There's spreads in the back. Full color. Awesome. Love that. Love that. Okay. Now we're going to pull this up. This is, I don't know. Oh, they gave me, let me find out. Let me move this out the way. They gave us a card holder. I love when companies do that. That's where I got this card holder from, I think. Yeah, it is. Yeah. All right, we're gonna use the new card holder then, guys. We're gonna check it out. So they are inside of paper, which I always love. Please use as little plastic as possible. So I'm gonna rip it off. Now the first thing I noticed before, as soon as I rip it off, is they're easy in the hand. They're not too big. I love that. Number two, let's get one of these. I noticed the backs. Okay, so the backs are really beautiful. You can use these in the upright and the reverse. I always read upright and reversal. They're not too thick or too thin. They're really perfect. They have their sweet spot. Oh, I can't wait to look at these. Okay, and there's no gilding on them or anything. They're plain white. So let's get started. I notice here that this is the first Okay. Now, if I turn it around, I want to see if I turn this around, if it'll stand up. So this, okay. So this is how we're going to use it. Okay. All right. So, hmm. I'm trying to see a way, but I'm going to pull this in because I want you to see the details. There we go. If you can't see the words, you can't see the details. That's how I look at it. All right. This is the person who created this deck. Good. Okay. All right. So we're going to move to the next card. This is here. Okay. Oh, I have this deck, the mermaid one. Yes, beautiful deck. One of my favorites. Okay. So the same creator worked on this project. Got it. Okay, I like that because that's a nice deck. Okay. All right, so now we're going to get started. This is our number one. Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you the font at the bottom is a really good font, but it's really small. So for those of us who need glasses, or those of us who are getting older, you're definitely going to need your eyewear for these. The font is really small, but it's standard. This is the standard size for Llewellyn. They do a lot of their decks like this. I love the fact that this deck is borderless. See, I don't like this. Hold up, guys. I don't like my setup. I want y'all to see it. And it's giving me a hard way to go. There we go. There. Pull it in. Right there. Alright, so let me move these over. Okay, let's get into it. Ooh. I like the fact that it's borderless. I feel like borders are so unnecessary. Sometimes they're cute. Sometimes they frame a card or add some illustration to a card. But for the most part, I'd rather have more of the illustration pulled to the edge, just like this. This is perfect for me. The Unicorn Priestess. Okay, I like that. So automatically I can tell you I love these. I love them. I love the whimsical nature of these beings, these creatures. I love the flowers. I love this. This is really beautiful. And I love the size of these. I did not realize when I first grabbed that box these were tarot. I thought this was an oracle deck, so I'm pleasantly surprised. And the reason why I said that is because I can never get enough tarot decks. And I really love the fact, I love their size. These are perfect. These are going to be so great to shuffle. One of the things about decks, I'm going to tell you something. I have a lot of decks. I have about 500 decks. And the one thing about a deck that will kill it for me is if it's hard to shuffle. I don't care how beautiful it is. I don't care how beautiful the artwork is. If I can't shuffle it, then there's no point. So you, of course, can do a proper tarot reading with these. It's not the same Rider-Waite clone energy, which I like. This deck is doing its own unique thing, which I also love. So it's not a clone, but you can do a proper tarot reading with it. If you know the cards, like I've been reading so long, I got them memorized in the upright and the reverse for about 20 years now. I've had them memorized. So if you're that kind of person, then this is going to be easy to use. If you're somebody who's just starting off and you don't know tarot imagery, then you're going to have to use the book, a guidebook that comes with this, or your own book. Which I did a lot in the beginning too. I used a lot of decks. Some had the Rider-Waite clone, some did not, and the books were very helpful for me to understand the images. So that's how I learned to use the images, the traditional images, as well as something like this that was more unique. I love this. I love the colors. I love the crystals. I love how it's their own personal interpretation. If you're somebody who's into unicorns, you'll like that. And every last one has either a unicorn in it or a unicorn horn, or it looks like something that is talking about unicorns. This is a fun card. Look at that. The Hanged Man. That's fun. That's a very fun card. I like the way I like the way it's upside down. I like that. It's different for it to be a horse versus being a man. So that says something to me in a different kind of way. Here's our death card. Beautiful colors once again. The use of color in this deck is one of the best parts, I would say. You know something? I would give this deck a 10 out of 10. And I say that because this deck is going to be very easy to use, very easy to shuffle. I understand the images very easily. There's no, like, I'm not stuck on any of these images, or they're not abstract. You know, I'm not guessing on these. I feel like this would be an easy deck for me to read with. And I feel like any seasoned reader would say that. Not any of us, not all of us, but many of us, put it like that. And I feel like if you're a newbie, it wouldn't be difficult to figure out, because it's kind of common sense if you just look at what's going on. You know, some of the times it's confusing in the beginning when you're trying to, compare the symbolism. But if you just look at the card itself, you can see what it's talking about, even though the symbols are very different. I like this. I like how it's illustrating the dark of the moon. Beautiful. Yeah, this one's a winner. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use it a lot. And it's so cool that it came with this card holder. So that means that if you're trying to do, a card of the day, you can use this card holder. You could do a card of the day with it. You can do a meditation with it. You can just sit and stare at it and meditate. You could also do journaling, pull one card, and maybe use the guidebook, or maybe not. Maybe just stare at the card and just say what the image is saying to you at that moment. Sometimes those are the most powerful readings. When I first started off, I read myself every single day. Not a day passed that I did not pull a card on myself. And I would record what it said and what it was talking about. And it was very helpful in my practice. And a lot of times, especially when I didn't know what the cards meant, I would just stare at it and say to myself, what do you think this is saying to you? And I would just look at it. And then I would write down what I thought it was saying. Then I would look up its meaning. And a lot of times you can tell just by the energy of the card. I definitely recommend these. These are beautiful. Yeah, I'd give them a 10 out of 10. Definitely. The only thing that would make these cards any better, and I wouldn't take off for this, is if the font at the bottom was bigger. That's the only thing I think would be cool. Maybe if it was double the size. So people can see it a little bit easier. But that's it. This deck is on point. This deck can be used by beginners. It can be used by seasoned readers. It can be used with other oracle decks. It would pair very nicely. I have a horse oracle it might pair with. I have a unicorn oracle or 2 or 3. Now that I think about it, it would definitely pair nicely with. So it's a great pairing deck. And because there's spreads inside of here, you could just use these just by themselves and do a spread. I also like that the unicorns are different colors. A lot of people just paint unicorns white. And I think that's a missed opportunity. And this deck is not doing that. We're seeing white ones. We're seeing brown ones. Pink. I saw blue. We're seeing different color. This one's kind of like a magenta color. So we're seeing different color unicorns. I like that part of the interpretation as well. Now this card holder is not very deep and it's not very wide. So you're not going to get any big cards in here. This deck itself is the best for this card holder. But Llewellyn's decks have a tendency to have similar dimensions. So you may have other decks that you can use from Llewellyn with this particular card holder. So very nice touch. I love when companies give little freebies like that. Beautiful. Look at that. Oh, yes. I love the flowers. Such a great use of flowers and grass and greenery, which I heavily associate with unicorns. And clearly this creator does too. Oh, wow. That reminds me of Bambi. Okay. The King of Pentacles. Okay. Very unique, very on point. Ace of Swords, okay. Two of Swords. And different terrains too. Like I've noticed that they're not just all summer terrains, like the beautiful flowers. We're getting some winter here. We're getting different. Oh, look at that sad. Oh, looks like his friend died. That's terrible. Wow, that's really grief stricken. So we're seeing different seasons in our terrain as well. And it looks like they live in some type of magical place. There's no humans here either, which I like. I like that a lot. Just let the unicorns be free. Be free of the tyranny of humankind for a moment. Because I know if I was a unicorn, I would want some space away from the ridiculousness that is sometimes humankind. I'm a human and I wanna I want to escape from it sometimes. Darn sure wouldn't want to do it if I was a unicorn. And unicorn lore is very I haven't read a lot about it. I've seen it in Harry Potter. I've seen it in other renditions. We've all seen it in different fairy tales. But unicorn lore is pretty open. So I think that there's a lot of room for interpretation, I mean. So them doing different colors, for example, different worlds or universe, wherever these unicorns are, is great because I don't know. I've never heard somebody say like, that unicorns can't be different colors, for example. So I think that's cool. Ten of Swords. Wow. They're very playful, very, very playful cards. I like that. A lot of the animals are in motion. Often, when you see these animals, especially the unicorns in motion, it gives you this kind of like playful, happy, exuberant kind of nature. Okay. And I can't really tell the men from the women. Some of the women I have seen have an extravagant headdress, but I can't really tell. So that's not a problem at all. I just noticed that. So I was looking at the one I think was the queen, and I'm like, okay, trying to see if I could tell she was a female. But there's no real distinction like this one here. I don't know what this is, a male or a male or a female. Doesn't really matter. But I just noticed that that's kind of cool. I can't tell the difference. Oh, I love how this is the wand suit and everything's on fire. I love wands. Well, I really love fire. I do. I love fire. I love fire pits. I love candles. I love that kind of thing. Torches. I just love it. I love the light. I love the warmth. It's different than a light bulb. It's different than turning on a light. It has a romance to it. A nice fireplace. There's a romance to it that electric light will, in my opinion, will never touch. But then again, there are a lot of clever people. Maybe someone will figure out how to do that. Because I have electric candles and it's just not the same. But every day something new comes out. He looks fierce. Those eyes. And I love these. These are, they're all red. I love that. Very fierce looking suit. The whole suit has that red fierceness to it. That was a very excellent choice by the illustrator and the creator. I love that choice. Here's our 9. So how we differentiate the court cards, because I'm trying to see what's the biggest difference. Certain court cards had a headdress that other ones did not. The page does not have a headdress. This is our page. But our knight has something going on. Yeah, this is a fun deck. This is definitely a fun deck. Okay. Okay. And they have a throne looking thing too. So the queens and the kings have a throne looking thing as well. I noticed that. So some of them have a headdress, and I think all of them might have a headdress and a throne. So that's what I'm noticing with them. Now the cups. The cups is my favorite suit. So you got to do the cups justice. Got to. That's beautiful. Gotta do it justice. Look at the Two of Cups. One of my favorite cards in the whole deck. Beautiful. I love the Suit of Cups. I love it. And I'm not a water sign. I don't have a lot of water in my chart. Maybe that's why I love it so much. My favorite element is fire, even though Aquarius is an air sign. But fire is definitely my favorite element. But I must admit that something about water, I can sit and stare at water for hours. Like a lake or a river or an ocean. I can just sit and stare at it. I don't even have to get in it. Sometimes I don't even want to get in it. There's something about water, especially natural water sources, that really, really, really impress me. So because the cups is often liquid, you often see a lot of water symbolism. And this deck is all water symbolism. These are really fun. Look at that. 7. Beautiful. Yeah, gorgeous. And there's our 8. I love that moon. Look at that moon. Fun. Fun moon. Love that. Here's our 9. Okay. Yeah, I like the use of the animal friends. So it's not just them, it's their animal friends too. I like that a lot. Okay. A long time ago, I wanted to make a deck, and I never did it. I never finished. I never finished it, I should say. I did start. And when I see things like this, it really makes me want to pick that project back up because I love the movement and the energy. It's beautiful. Okay, so she's giving female. I feel like, even though a male could still, a male could very easily look like that, but she's giving it, and she's beautiful. Love the flowers. And here's her masculine counterpart. Okay, was that the last? That was the last one. That was the last suit. Okay, and then we go into the Fool. The Fool wasn't in place. I hope I showed you guys the Fool. Just in case I didn't, I'm going to show it to you again. Because it wasn't in the right place. I could have just moved it by accident. That's our Fool. And I like that. That's a traditional look you would expect. But this unicorn is a Pegasus. But that is definitely a great look. Okay. All right. So what do I think? I think this is a beautiful deck. I think it is a 10 out of 10. And we're going to see right now if it's as easy to shuffle as I originally believed. Yep. It's easy to grab. It's easy to shuffle. And it's not like bending. It's not bowing, Easy to shuffle. It's gliding. It's not buttery, but it is gliding very easily. So these won't be difficult at all to work with. I definitely recommend these. Check out the link underneath this video and get yourself a pair if you're into unicorns like I am. And you come back soon because I got a couple more reviews to do. And I got a lot to say about them. Take care.